The emergency alert had been ringing for 3 hours when Commander O finally heard the voice that would change everything. The message came from across the galaxy, transmitted through channels that Earth rarely used. It was a call for help, not a request, not a negotiation, a desperate plea from the most advanced civilizations in the known universe. O sat in the command center of the Earth station, watching the holographic display as the message played again. The speaker was sovereign leader of the collective. His image flickered slightly, damaged by the long transmission, but his words were crystal clear. They were coming. They were already here, and nobody could stop them. The commander leaned forward in his chair, his dark eyes fixed on the display. Around him, his team worked frantically. Lieutenant Haywan monitored the incoming data. Chief Engineer Minjun analyzed the technical specifications being sent from the fleet. Medical Officer Na reviewed casualty reports that seemed to grow worse every minute. "They're losing entire systems," Na said quietly. Her voice shook slightly as she read through the information. "Whole planets gone in days." O had heard stories about the before. Everyone in the galaxy had. They were legendary creatures born from some ancient war between extinct civilizations. They were not truly alive in the way that most beings understood life. There was something different, something that learned, something that hunted. What made them terrifying was not just their strength but their intelligence. They adapted, they studied their enemies, and they never made the same mistake twice. They had been fighting them for 6 months, 6 months of constant warfare, and they were losing. The collective controlled 12 star systems. They had technology that made Earth's finest weapons look like toys. They had shields that could withstand asteroid impacts. They had ships that could travel between stars in days. They had everything that the advanced civilizations valued, everything except hope. "Play the request again," O commanded. The message restarted. His face filled the screen. The sovereign looked tired. His skin, which was normally a pale blue, seemed darker now, exhausted. Behind him, alarms flashed in the background of the command center. "We have heard stories," the sovereign said slowly, choosing each word with care. "Stories of a world that gives birth to warriors, a world where survival itself is a war. We have heard of Earth. We have heard of the—" He paused, and for a moment O saw something break in the alien leader's expression. "I do not know if we can trust these stories, but I know that what we are doing is not working. We need something different. We need warriors who understand what it means to fight when the odds are against them. We need the soldiers of Earth." The message ended. The hologram faded. O stood up slowly. He walked to the window of the command center. Below, the city of Seoul spread out under the afternoon sky. The buildings were tall and strong, built to withstand the violent storms that came with Earth's heavy gravity. The people below moved quickly, efficiently, always aware that their world was trying to kill them. Earthquakes, tsunamis, creatures that hunted in the night, and yet they survived. They thrived. "This is what they need to see," O said to himself. Haywan approached him. She was younger than O, but she had fought in 3 border wars and survived conditions that would have killed most species. "Do you think we can help them?" she asked. "I think they don't have a choice," O replied, "and neither do we." He turned back to face his team. Minjun was studying the battle data, his expression darkening as he processed the information. The weapons were unlike anything Earth had ever seen, but they followed patterns. Everything followed patterns. "How many soldiers do we have available?" O asked. 40,000 trained military personnel ready for deployment," Na answered. "But that's our entire defensive force. We can't leave Earth undefended." "They are 12 star systems away," O said, "and if the fall we are next, Earth will not stay undefended. It will simply die later." He moved to the communication console. "Send a message to the United Earth Council. Tell them I am requesting authorization to form an expeditionary force. Tell them we need to send 500 of our best soldiers, scientists, and medical personnel to the collective. Tell them we are going to fight." Haywan's eyes widened. 500, that's a bold number. Earth does not send armies, O said. Earth sends wolves. 500 wolves are more valuable than 5,000 ordinary soldiers. Min Jun looked up from his displays. They won't believe that 500 humans can make a difference. They have technologies we cannot even imagine. Let them doubt, O replied. They are doubting themselves already. They need to see something that is not afraid, something that was born in the gravity wells of a hostile world, something that knows how to survive when everything around it is trying to kill you. Na stood up and joined the commander at the window. You know what you are asking for, don't you? If we send our best soldiers and they fail, we lose more than just those soldiers. We lose the respect of the galaxy. We lose our advantage. Oh, watched the city below. Somewhere in those buildings, children were learning to read, to write, to survive. They would inherit whatever came next. If he did nothing, they would inherit a galaxy conquered by the. If he acted, they might inherit something different. We have never had an advantage with them, O said quietly. They have always looked at us as primitives, as animals, he smiled slightly. Now, finally, they want what animals have. They want soldiers who do not need perfect conditions to fight. They want warriors who understand pain and fear and survival. He turned to face his team directly. Send the message, authorize the deployment, and get me a list of the best people we have. We are going to prove something to the galaxy. We are going to show them that when you need heroes, you do not look for the most advanced civilization. You look for the ones born on the hardest world. You look for the ones who learn to survive before they learn to think. In the distance, an earthquake rumbled through Seoul. The buildings swayed. The people outside barely reacted. They simply held on to what was near them and waited for it to pass. This was Earth. This was where O's warriors came from. And finally, the rest of the galaxy was beginning to understand why that mattered. The training facility had never been so busy. Soldiers moved through the corridors in controlled chaos, preparing equipment, checking weapons, and studying data about an enemy most of them had never seen. 500 fighters, scientists, and medical personnel had been selected for the mission. They were Earth's finest, but not all of them understood what they were about to face. Commander O walked through the hangar where the last preparations were being made. Around him, soldiers loaded supplies onto the transport ships. Captain Wu, the tactical expert, stood on a platform reviewing combat formations with a group of new recruits. Wu moved with the grace of someone who had trained his entire life. His body was strong. His mind was sharper. He had survived 3 wars and earned respect across multiple military branches. The move in geometric patterns, Wu explained to the group. They think like machines because they are machines or close to it. They do not make mistakes, but they also do not anticipate unusual actions. They do not expect a soldier to do something that logic says they should not do. He smiled. We are illogical. That is our advantage. O moved on to the equipment bay where Chief Engineer Sung Ho was analyzing weapons systems that had been transmitted as part of the preparation package. Sung Ho was a genius with technology. He could take any device apart and understand it within hours, but even he seemed frustrated. Their weapons are powerful, but they are brittle, Sung Ho said as O approached. He held up a data model of a plasma rifle, designed for beings who never had to worry about dropping things or fighting in extreme weather. A heavy impact damages the internal systems. They are not built for the way we fight. Can you make them more durable? O asked. I am already modifying designs, Sung Ho replied. But it will take time. Every weapon we modify becomes less powerful. More people carry them, but each individual weapon is weaker. That is acceptable, O said. Reliability is more important than power. A weak gun that works is better than a powerful gun that breaks when you need it. In the medical section, Officer Ra worked with a team of doctors. She had seen combat injuries that would have killed soldiers from other worlds. She had learned to work quickly, to make decisions with incomplete information, to save lives with improvised equipment. This experience would be crucial in space, where resources were limited and distance from Earth was enormous. "How many people do we lose?" Ra asked one of her doctors. "In training or in combat," the doctor replied. "Both." The doctor sighed. "In training scenarios, we usually lose 8 to 10% during extreme missions. In actual combat, numbers are less predictable. The reports suggest they are losing about 5% in every major battle." Ra nodded. 5% meant 50 soldiers out of every 1,000. That was enormous, but it was also manageable with good medical support. She had treated worse on Earth. The final preparations took 5 days. Ships were loaded with supplies. Weapons were checked and rechecked. Soldiers reviewed tactics. Scientists studied the biology, trying to understand their weaknesses. Everyone understood that they were about to leave Earth and might never come back. On the evening before departure, Diplomat met with O in the command office. She had been chosen to handle negotiations with the. She was sharp, intelligent, and had worked in diplomacy for 15 years. Her role would be to convince the to trust humans, even though they had always viewed Earth as primitive. "They will not believe in us," said, reviewing the communication records. "They have had minimal contact with Earth. To them, we are curiosities, beings they studied occasionally but never took seriously." "Let them doubt," O said. "Doubt makes them desperate. Desperation makes them open to new ideas." "And if we fail?" asked. O did not answer immediately. He looked out at the night sky. Somewhere out there, beyond the clouds, the stars were waiting. Earth was waiting. They were waiting. They were waiting. "If we fail," O said finally, "then Earth will face the anyway, but we will face them alone. At least this way, we are giving them a chance, and we are giving ourselves a chance to learn what they are before they reach our doorstep." The next morning, the ships launched. 500 humans left Earth's orbit, traveling toward the contested zone near the expanse. The journey would take 3 weeks through the jump gates that connected distant parts of the galaxy. In the ship, O gathered his core team. Wu, Sung-Ho, Ra, and sat around a table in the commander's quarters. Outside the window, Earth grew smaller and smaller. "Everything changes now," O said to them. "We are no longer Earth's soldiers. We are representatives of our entire world. They will judge us. They will judge Earth. They will decide if humans are worth saving or if they should let us all die." "That is a lot of pressure," Ra said quietly. "It is the pressure we were born for," Wu replied. "We come from a world that does not allow weakness. Every one of us sitting at this table has survived things that would destroy most beings. Now we use that to survive something new." Sung-Ho was quiet for a moment, then he spoke. "They are more advanced than us, stronger than us, better equipped than us. What do we have that they do not?" O stood and walked to the window. The stars stretched out before him, endless and cold. "We have something they cannot understand," O said. "We have hope. We have the ability to fight even when the logic says we should surrender. We have been forged in the gravity wells of a hostile world. We understand pain. We understand survival. We understand what it means to keep fighting when everything around you is trying to kill you." He turned back to face his team. "They are perfect. They are logical. They are predictable. We are flawed. We are emotional. We are unpredictable. And in this war, that difference will matter." The ship accelerated. The jump gate appeared on the horizon, a massive structure that bent space itself. As they passed through it, the familiar stars of Earth's system disappeared. New stars appeared. Strange stars, dangerous stars. They were leaving home. They were flying toward a war that they might not survive, but they were flying as Earth's finest. And somewhere in the galaxy, they were waiting to meet them. Neither side knew what was about to happen, but the universe was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. The space station appeared on the sensors after 3 weeks of travel through jump gates and empty space. It was enormous, a structure that floated in orbit around a dead planet, a monument to the technological power. As the Earth ships approached, O felt the weight of expectation settle on his shoulders. Everything depended on what happened next. The commander, General Is, greeted them coldly. His species had crystalline skin that reflected light like diamonds. His eyes were too large, designed to see in spectrums humans could not perceive. He looked at O with barely concealed skepticism. The Is said, testing the word as if it tasted strange in his mouth. "You are smaller than our reports suggested." O stood straight, meeting the general's gaze without flinching. "We are efficient," he replied. "We do not need size to be effective." Is made a sound that might have been laughter. Efficiency did not save the civilian population of 9. Efficiency did not stop them from consuming our research stations. He gestured toward the observation window. "Look at what remains of our dominion." O looked. What he saw made his breath catch. The system, once full of colonies and stations, was now with destruction. Entire orbital facilities were dark, their power systems destroyed. Planets that had hosted millions of people showed signs of bombardment from space. This was not war as humans understood it. This was genocide. "How long until they reach the main station?" O asked. 3 days, Is replied. "We have attempted 17 major tactical operations against the fleet. 17 times we have failed. Our weapons, which have defeated every other enemy we have ever faced, seem useless against them." In the tactical center, Wu studied the battle records with his tactical officers. The patterns were clear. They would attack with overwhelming firepower. They would adapt, redistribute their forces, and counter in ways that they did not anticipate. Then they would retreat, reformulate their strategy, and try again. The cycle repeated endlessly. "They learn too fast," one of the officers explained. "A being with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shift colors with his emotions. Every tactic we use once, they counter the second time. They treat warfare as a logical puzzle. We cannot win a logical puzzle against a machine." Wu nodded slowly. He saw the problem, but he also saw the solution. "What if you stop treating it as a logical puzzle?" he asked. The officer looked confused. "What do you mean?" "What if you do not use strategy? What if you simply attack, without planning, without pattern, without logic?" "That would be suicide," the officer said. "Not for us," Wu replied. We are trained to survive things that should kill us. We are trained to adapt faster than anything logical would predict." O made the decision that night. They would arrive at the main station in 2 days. They wanted to stage another massive space battle, using their superior weaponry and tactical formations. But O knew that would fail, just like all the previous attempts. He called for and presented his plan to General Is. The commander listened with growing alarm. "You want to mount a ground assault," Is said slowly, "to leave the safety of the station and engage them directly on their ship." "I want to show them something they have never encountered," O corrected. "They have fought aerial battles. They have fought tactical space engagements. But they have never fought against beings who are willing to die rather than surrender. Beings who do not follow the rules of logic." The general stared at the human commander for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. "If you fail, they will reach this station uncontested. We will all die." "If we do nothing, the same result occurs," O said. "At least this way we have a chance." The next morning, O prepared his people. 500 humans were not many against the armada, but 100 of them would board vessels. They would fight. They would kill. And they would show the galaxy what happens when you bring logic to a fight against warriors born on a. Wu led the assault team. His soldiers moved through the corridors of a captured vessel with weapons raised. The enemy was everywhere. Metal creatures the size of humans, moving with mechanical precision, coordinating their attacks through some network that linked their minds. But the humans adapted. When one strategy failed, they tried another. When they adapted to their tactics, the humans did something completely unexpected. They fought like they were born to fight, because in a way they were. Ra led the medical team, treating wounded soldiers in the corridors, saving lives with quick decisions and improvised equipment. She had trained for this her entire life. She had worked in Earth's harshest environments, where one mistake meant death. Sung-ho modified captured weapons on the fly, learning their systems through combat, adapting them to work with human bodies and human reflexes. Every modification made the weapons more unreliable by standards. Every modification made them more useful to humans. For 18 hours the battle raged. Humans died, many humans died, but the died too. And more importantly, for the first time, they began to show signs of confusion. Their logic could not predict human behavior. Their tactics, refined through countless battles, did not work against beings who fought through sheer will and determination. When the battle finally ended, not a complete retreat, but a pullback, a moment to recalculate, a moment to understand that they had encountered something they did not fully comprehend. O stood among the wreckage, covered in blood and dust. Beside him, Wu was grinning despite a wound on his shoulder. Sung-ho was examining a weapon with new respect. Ra was treating the wounded, her face showing the exhaustion of 18 straight hours of emergency medicine. General is arrived in person, his crystalline features reflecting the emergency lights of the station. He looked at O with an expression that had changed completely from their first meeting. "You won," the said simply. "We survived," O replied. "That is what humans do. We survive. And when we survive, we learn. And when we learn, we adapt faster than anything they have ever faced." The general looked at the human soldiers, these small, tough beings from a world of gravity and storms and endless danger. For the first time, he saw not primitives. He saw warriors. He saw hope. "Tell me," is said, "what is the weakness of the—" O smiled. "They believe in perfection. They believe that logic always wins. They have never met a species crazy enough to keep fighting when logic says they should die." The ground trembled beneath them. Another attack was coming. But this time, everyone knew the battle would be different. They had arrived, and they were only getting started. The days after the first human victory changed everything. News of the battle spread through the fleet, carried from ship to ship through quantum communications. The impossible had happened. Humans had defeated the in direct combat. Humans, the species that they had always considered primitive, had done what the most advanced military force in the galaxy could not. Requests flooded in from every commander in the war theater. They wanted human soldiers attached to their units. They wanted to understand human tactics. They wanted to learn how to fight like. O realized that the real battle was not against the. It was against the fundamental belief that civilization meant perfection. It meant logic. It meant doing things exactly the right way every single time. The humans had to teach them that sometimes the right way was not the most logical way. Sometimes survival demanded improvisation. Wu took personal charge of training the soldiers. He would stand in front of mixed units of humans, and his strong frame moving with practiced efficiency as he demonstrated combat techniques. But more than that, he taught them attitude. "They expect you to follow a pattern," Wu said to a group of crystalline-skinned soldiers and human fighters. "They study your movements, they learn your tactics. By the third or fourth encounter, they have calculated how to defeat you." He smiled. "So do not be predictable. Do something illogical. Do something that should not work but works anyway. Do something that no amount of calculation can anticipate." One of the soldiers asked a question. "But how do we know what to do if we are not following logic?" "You feel it," Wu said. "You trust your instinct. You move fast and you adapt faster. That is what being a teaches you. Earth kills the weak and the slow. Only the ones who can feel danger and move with their gut instincts survive to adulthood." Sung-ho worked with the engineering corps, showing them how to modify weapons and equipment for use in harsh conditions. They had always designed their technology for controlled environments. Everything was elegant. Everything was precise. Everything broke if you dropped it wrong. Your weapons are beautiful, Sung-ho told a group of engineers in the station's tech center. But beautiful does not survive a combat zone. Beautiful dies when dust gets inside the mechanisms. Beautiful fails when you need it most. He held up a plasma rifle. We will make your weapons ugly. We will make them tough. We will make them work even when they should not. The engineers protested. It went against every principle of their design philosophy. But they looked at the weapons that humans had salvaged from the vessels, modified on the fly, and used to kill the enemy. And they began to understand. NAR revolutionized medical practices. They had advanced technology, but their approach to medicine was as careful and precise as everything else in their culture. They would not treat a patient until they had run 17 different scans and calculated the exact optimal treatment. Your people are dying while you calculate, Na said bluntly to the medical staff. A human doctor treats what they can see and adapts as they go. We are not perfect, but we save more lives because we act faster. She showed them field medicine, how to treat critical injuries with minimal equipment, how to make do with what was available, how to prioritize saving the most people instead of saving every person with perfect technique. The doctors were horrified, but as they watched No work, moving with calm efficiency, making quick decisions that saved patients who would have been lost to their slower methods, they began to change their minds. Negotiated a new command structure. The human and forces would fight as integrated units, with human and commanders sharing authority. They would benefit from human tactical innovation. The humans would benefit from technology and resources. Within 2 weeks, the results became obvious. In battles where human soldiers were present, they were defeated more often. In battles where fought alone, they still struggled. They had begun to adapt to human tactics, but humans adapted faster. The turning point came when a command center was breached. Humans and fought side by side, and for the first time, they worked as one force. They had calculated how to fight humans and how to fight, but they had not calculated how to fight them together, moving with the precision while maintaining the humans' unpredictability. The again and again. In the spaces between battles, more reports came from other theaters of war. Wherever humans were deployed, they were losing ground. O stood in the command center with General Is, watching the tactical displays. The lines were shifting. They were being pushed back, not defeated yet but no longer advancing. Your people have changed everything, Is said to the human commander. His crystalline features reflected the glow of the displays, making him look almost alive with inner light. Your people had the strength, O replied. They just needed to remember how to use it. They are powerful, but they are also rigid. They follow their programming. We break our own programming every day just to survive. That is the advantage. A message came through the communication system. Forces at the outer rim were engaging a massive incursion. 10 ships, 20, 50. It was the largest fleet yet assembled. If we send our full force, we might be able to stop them, Is said. O considered the situation. This was not defense anymore. This was the chance to go on offense, to take the fight to the and finish this war. Gather every human and unit, O said. We are not going to stop them, we are going to destroy them. For the first time since the humans arrived, there was something in O's voice that made even the advanced alien general feel afraid. Not afraid of the humans, afraid for the combined fleet began to mobilize. Hundreds of ships, human technology integrated with design. Thousands of soldiers, humans teaching how to fight with chaos and passion and the refusal to accept defeat. The stage was set for the final confrontation, and everyone understood that when truly began to fight back, nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. There was not a planet in the traditional sense. It was a megastructure, an artificial world constructed from the materials of countless consumed civilizations. At its center was the collective consciousness of the the central processor that controlled millions of entities across multiple star systems. It was humanity's final target. The attack began at dawn, though day and night had no meaning in space. The combined fleet of humans and dropped from jump gates like a meteor shower, thousands of ships converging on a single point in space. It was the largest military engagement of the war. It was the moment everything would be decided. O commanded from the lead vessel, a ship that combined human durability with weapons systems. Around him, humans and worked as a single fighting force. They had trained together. They had bled together. They had learned to move as one organism with the creativity of humans and the precision of. They defended their home with every resource they possessed. The engagement lasted 4 hours. In that time, hundreds of ships were destroyed. Thousands of soldiers died, but they were falling back, losing ground they had held for generations. Wu led a team of human soldiers and fighters into the heart of the megastructure. They fought through corridors that seemed to go on forever, passing through automated defenses and warrior units. The artificial gravity kept shifting, trying to disorient them. But humans had trained on Earth, where the ground itself was unpredictable. They adapted. Every passage they forced open. Ra and the medical teams followed, treating the wounded, saving lives, moving with the efficiency of beings who had learned medicine in a world where mistakes meant death. Sung Ho and his engineers moved with the assault teams, capturing technology, understanding their systems, and when necessary, disabling them. The weapons that had seemed unstoppable in previous battles suddenly malfunctioned, sabotaged from within by human innovation. At the core of the megastructure, the collective consciousness resided. It was not a being in the traditional sense. It was millions of processors working together, creating an intelligence that was distributed across the entire structure. But it was also vulnerable. It had grown comfortable. It had never encountered an enemy that was not predictable. O stood before the main control center. Around him, alarms flashed. The structure was destabilizing. They, for the first time in their existence, were losing, and they did not know how to respond. "Blow it," O said simply. Sung Ho detonated the charges that his team had placed throughout the structure. The explosions cascaded through the system like a chain reaction. The consciousness, spread across millions of processors, could not defend against the attack, could not adapt to something that was happening everywhere at once. The megastructure convulsed. Its systems failed. The collective intelligence that had consumed entire civilizations fragmented, broke apart, died. And in that moment, the war was over. The journey back to space took only days. The victorious fleet was greeted with celebrations that humans had never seen before. They came out in massive numbers, their cities lighting up the night sky. They had been given back their future. They had been saved by the ceremony took place in the grand hall of the collective, a space that had been designed to hold thousands of beings. Sovereign himself presented the honors. O stood with his team, Wu, Sung Ho, Ra, and behind them stood 500 humans, the warriors of Earth, the ones who had come to a distant galaxy and changed history. "We came to you as primitives," said, his voice carrying through speakers that filled the entire hall. "We believed that civilization meant perfection, that technology meant superiority, that logic meant victory. The humans from Earth have taught us that we were wrong." He gestured toward O and the human soldiers. "They came to us not with more advanced weapons, but with something we had lost: the will to survive against impossible odds, the ability to adapt in moments when logic says adaptation is impossible, the courage to fight when fighting should mean death." O listened as the sovereign spoke about the humans, how they had turned the tide of war, how they had fought alongside as equals, how they had taught advanced civilizations that sometimes primitive could mean stronger. Sometimes simplicity could beat perfection. "From this day forward," declared, "Earth will be recognized as an equal member of the galactic community, not as primitives, not as to be studied, but as warriors, as heroes, as the species that saved us when we could not save ourselves. The applause was deafening. Beings of 100 different species, all thanking humans for their sacrifice, all understanding that their survival had come from the harsh gravity wells and hostile environments of a distant world called Earth. After the ceremony, O found himself standing on a balcony overlooking the capital. The city stretched out below, beautiful and advanced, a monument to the heights of civilization. But beside him stood Wu, Sung-Ho, and Ra, soldiers of Earth, warriors of a. "We are going home," O said quietly. "Will Earth even recognize us?" Ra asked. "They will not have to," O replied. "The galaxy will tell them, the other species will tell them. They will know that humans are not primitive. They will know that are the most dangerous warriors in the known universe." Wu smiled. "Because we learned to survive in a place where survival was a war." The morning they left, thousands came to see them off. Not because they wanted the humans to leave, but because they wanted to show their respect. The commander presented each member of the expedition with a medal, not a decoration, not something that looked nice. A functional device that would allow any being in the galaxy to recognize the wearer as a hero of the war. As the human ships prepared to jump to the gate, O thought about the question that had started all of this. When aliens needed heroes, where did they look? They looked to humans. And humanity had answered the call. The ships jumped through the gate, folding space and traveling across the galaxy toward Earth. The crew celebrated quietly. They had survived a war that should have killed them. They had learned about themselves and about their world. They had proven something that would change humanity's place in the universe forever. But as the Earth came into view on the scanners, growing larger and more beautiful with each passing moment, O understood the deeper truth. Earth was not a because it was harsh. Earth was a because it had shaped a species that would never surrender, a species that would survive anything, a species that, when the galaxy needed heroes, would respond. The humans were coming home, and they were coming home as heroes. They had answered, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same.